Hello, everyone. Oh gosh, I forgot to turn on these lights here. Hi, everyone. Hello. How is everyone doing? Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late here. There we go. That's better. Okay. Oof. All right. All right. We got some things to do today. Got a few things to do today. Let's see here who we got here. I'm not entirely out of the woods in terms of feeling ill, but I shall survive. All right. Let's see who we got here. We got Diego, hello, Diego. Okay. And Doug on the left. Hello, Doug on the left. Navia, thank you very much for following. Nim's Noseball. Hello, Nim's Noseball. Hello. AMA Gaming. Hey, AMA Gaming. Demosthenes. Uh, hello. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right, Alyssa. I guess technically I am early, but I think I put the wrong time on the one on Discord, and originally I said 2:15. I don't know, whatever. Who cares? I'm still kind of feverish. What can I say? Okay, that's my excuse. Demosthenes, hello, Demosthenes. Thank you, Mithril. Thank you for your okay. London, hello, London. Wish I could catch, but unfortunately, I have data analytics homework to do. Oh my god, that sounds super fun, London. Good luck with that. All right. Thank you very much, London, for subscribing for subscribing over there on Twitch. Okay. Hello, Alyssa. Mithril, hello. Druzilla, hello. Um, Dubois, hello, Dubois. Sorry if my voice isn't as excited as normal. I am very happy to see you. I'm just trying not to strain myself. Hello, Weirdomorphous Blob, hello. I love your little octopus there. Big Braden, hello, hello, hello. Okay, Lee Lane. Um, Hella Nice Wings, hello. Okay, all right, guys. So, Alan, hello, Alan. All right, guys. So, we got a few things to talk about. First thing is first here. I will set a if we get I don't think I even set a goal yet, did I? No, I didn't. If we get a if we I don't know why it won't let me set a goal here. Let me quickly refresh the page. So if we get one super chat, I will put on the jester hat. Uh oh, it's messing with me. Give me a second here, folks. You know what? I don't know why it's the button isn't working. We'll just put it this way. We'll just keep a visual. We'll just remember it. We'll just remember it. If we get one, it'll be a jester hat. If we get three, it'll be jester collar, and then we'll see what happens after that. Okay. But thank you, everyone who's here. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of golden hats in here now. It's pretty cool. Okay, guys. So we have a few things to talk about. All right. Um, First thing is this. I have a show and tell thing I wanted to show all of you and tell you about. So let me do that really fast. Let me fix some of the things here. Okay, so I have here a artifact, very very old artifact. Probably from anywhere between 8 to 11,000 years ago. This is the head of a what was probably an axe of some sort. Um, and my father actually found this item. I live in Ohio, and there's a lot of Native Americans lived here, and there's a bunch of old, like mounds that were burial mounds and things like that. And when he was a kid, he would go into a nearby field and just look around and find arrowheads. And one of the biggest things he found was this, which is an axe head. Like I said, from its style and stuff, probably from around 8 to 11,000 years ago. Um, but that is so that isn't that cool? You can see where they were right Mithril. Hello, Zach. Okay, and you can see it was funny. It's actually my father used to bring it into the school he worked at to show to his students. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a chip out of it right here. Okay. That's because one of his students dropped it after when he was passing it around for them to look at. This thing had been in the ground in a farm field and hadn't been damaged once until he handed it to a student. Okay. And that was the only way it got damaged. Demosthenes, how dare you? I will have you know, Demosthenes, that something like this is so hard. This is like I said, this is like what 8 to 11,000 years old. You're not really going to be able to damage it much at all by touching it. But that is a fair point, Demosthenes. Okay. I know, yeah, my dad was like that was, like, one of the times in the classroom I really had to maintain my calm and make sure I didn't start yelling at that student. But then, of course, my response was, "Well, maybe you shouldn't have let the students hold it." But anyway, so, yeah, just wanted to show you this all. This is probably from an archaic human, so before the Stone Age, right after the Ice Age. Anyway, so I just thought you'd find that interesting, folks. Still younger than Biden, right, Zach? Right, Zach. Okay, thank you, by the way, Zach, for becoming a resistor, and because Zach did that, and because of London, I will put on the jester hat. So thank you. All right. By the way, folks, on a side note here, I guess not really on a side note. When anyone here is sick, do you become, like, super pissy and just, like, wanna get into fights with everyone? Not like physical fights, like verbal altercations with people. Because let me tell you, I swear, when I was, like yesterday when I was feeling sick, I was causing havoc all over the social media. Like, I was finding people to argue with. Like, I swear, like, some lady put up a picture of her baby, and she's like, "Look how cute my baby is," and I'm like, "That is the ugliest baby I've ever seen." Okay, no, I didn't do that. I am exaggerating. But but, but I did get into an argument with a few people. Um, I did, hello, Meowzord, okay? Um, on my phone to chat, but listen, but arcing and oh, amazing. That's amazing, Dubois. Okay. No, I turned into a big baby. I'm a man. That's what we do. Okay. Okay. Me too, Zach. Don't you hear me keep complaining here? Okay. Um, Okay, yeah. Yeah, baby hating CR, right? No, okay, I didn't actually say that to someone, but I did get into some arguments with people like over political things. Like I saw someone post something about like 9/11 being an inside job, and I'm like, well, la, 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 la. Okay, and I got into like a whole useless argument about it. Anyway, maybe we will there you go, Trump failed. Okay, so maybe I will tell you about some of those arguments at some point. Mithril, have you ever read The Boy with the Bronze Axe? No. That sounds fascinating though, Mithril. I will definitely take a look into that. It sounds like something I'd be interested in. Thank you, Mithril. Okay. So, Trump failed. Yeah. Okay. All right. I really want to visit Ireland, by the way. Trump failed, but okay. So we have something I wanted to. We have a slight little lesson here. It's kind of short. Um, totally. Hello, Drizilla. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Okay. All right. So let me put up the scene here. I do have a brief presentation for you. I'm still working on the presentation about the Sengoku Jidai. I will get it done, I promise, eventually. But I made this one up real fast this morning, just so where's my face? Where is my bloody face? There it is. Okay. Marky, hello, Marky. Okay. Um, like you to literally already have a thing to say. Yeah, right. I know, right? Weird amorphous blob. Okay. Uh, okay, Nico. What ceasefire? Yeah, there's a ceasefire. Alas, how dare you, Alyssa? Okay. uh, Alas, Israel's already trying to find loopholes to make it not enforced. Like today, they have re-implemented a cessation of aid to Gaza Strip, claiming that Hamas is not bringing out the hostages fast enough, which is insane. Because it takes a while to get bodies and stuff out of rubble. And so Hamas is not meeting that timeline, but they're working on it. And they have not stopped firing. There may be less bombing, but occasionally Israel still lobs bombs in there. So I appreciate, Nico, that you put ceasefire in quotes there because I'm not seeing it holding at the moment at all. Deeply disappointed. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be surprised. When you have a bloodlust like the Israeli government does, you will find a way to do your bloodlust stuff. Anyway, so yeah, not a fan of it. Okay. Yeah, right, Drizella. Um, Me Watashi wa casual revolt. Maybe I will AMA gaming. I could do that. I think I have a katana somewhere. Drizilla, yeah, they shot a whole bunch of folks, Drizilla. What do we expect, right? I'm not excusing them. I'm just saying, like, obviously, right? Like, they are monsters. So, okay. All right. So let's talk about this real fast, folks. We're going to talk about something called the Imperial Boomerang. Um, and I have some tea here with me to help ease my suffering because I'm a big baby. So please pardon me while I also prepare that while I'm doing this. So we're going to talk very briefly about a concept. And I spilled the tea. Okay, that's good. Well, that's okay. It's just overflowing a bit because I wasn't paying attention. The Imperial Boomerang. So this is a theory related to fascism and fascist tactics. Hello, Dolly Boy. Okay. Uh, and oh, careful, careful! Don't get the tea on the computer. Um, the I thought about gossip. I'm such a DJ. Zach, you know I love the tea also, okay? Yeah. Oh, totally weird amorphous blob. Totally. So the weird Imperial Boomerang is a theory that was developed in the 1950s, okay? Yeah, oh, Alan, again, you guys, I can tell a lot of the folks in here know what this is. I'm very happy. Dally boy, I'm doing mainly better. I'm still a little ill, but I'll survive. I'll be okay. I've had worse, okay? I had to teach during COVID, so this is fine. Okay, so uh, let's talk about what this means. It is a theory about fascism slash authoritarian governments. Okay, so we need to talk about this guy here. Again, I don't speak French, so please forgive me. Cesare, I think his name is Ami Cesare. He was born in 1913. He was a French poet, author, and politician from the island of Martinique. Okay, in the Caribbean, and he hated as he was growing up. He experienced tons of French colonial racial discrimination at the hands of um, thank you, weird amorphous blob. Cesare, Caesire or Caesari. Thank you. Okay, no extra e at the end. You're right. Thank you, weird amorphous blob. Okay, so he was a French poet, author, and politician from Martinique. He hated the racial politics of Martinique. The abuse that dark-skinned people were experiencing there at the hands of the French colonial administration. And in 1945, with the support of the French Communist Party, he was elected mayor of Fort-de-France and deputy to the French National Assembly for Martinique. Okay. Z- uh, M A Zer. Did I say it? Oh. Mazer. Ma Césaire. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Ma Césaire. Thank you, Malzord. Okay. Um, that's okay, Bettina. Welcome, Bettina. Glad to have you here. Okay. Um, and while he was doing this, okay, he wrote a very famous book called um, Discourse on Colonialism in 1955. Okay. And this book was an academic work, partially influenced by people like Michel Foucault, kind of. But it became a classic. It was very good. I personally am not a huge fan of like postmodernism, but you can there it has some very good uses. And this is one of them. Okay, so and he wrote about uh, he talked about colonialism and its effect on the peoples who were subjected to it all over the world. Okay, so was his theory. Okay, it's called the Imperial Boomerang theory of fascism or authoritarianism. Okay, the Imperial Boomerang thesis is that governments that develop techniques to control colonial territories will eventually deploy those same techniques domestically against their own civilians, like a boomerang. Okay, if you throw out your colonial empire like a boomerang, if you throw out like if you use horrific methods of control in your colonial possessions, eventually it'll come back to you in the mainland. Okay. Um, so if that makes sense, all right. So the idea here is that another way of framing this, okay. There's another academic whose name I can't is escaping me. He phrased it as fascism is colonialism turned inwards. It is where a country, uh, you know, uses colonial methods within the metropole's borders. So within the original country's borders. All right. It turns it against its own primary citizenship. If that does that make sense? Okay. Now, there are actually a lot of issues with this definition. And I'm saying that as, someone who's pretty familiar with all the theory around this. It is useful in some ways. It also leaves out some other things, but for the sake of me just presenting it, I'm just going to present it, okay? And then maybe at the end we'll talk about some ways it may be more useful and less useful, okay? So, all right, this was a quote actually from his book, okay? Cesare, okay? Uh, uh, or Cesare, forgive me. Okay. Uh, and I love this. He had a great way of speaking that was kind of like you could sense the annoyance in his voice. Okay, so let me read it to you. And then one fine day, the bourgeoisie is awakened by a terrific boomerang effect. The Gestapos are busy, the prisons fill up, the torturers standing around the wrecks invent, refine, discuss. People are surprised, they become indignant. They say, how strange, but never mind, it's Nazism, it will pass. And they wait, and they hope, and they hide the truth from themselves that it is barbarism, the supreme barbarism, the crowning barbarism that sums up all the daily barbarisms. That it is Nazism, yes, but that before they were its victims, they were its accomplices. That they tolerated that Nazism before it was inflicted on them. That they absolved it, shut their eyes to it, legitimized it, because until then it had been applied only to non-European peoples. That they have cultivated that Nazism, that they are responsible for it, and that before engulfing the whole edifice of Western Christian civilization in its reddened waters, it oozes, seeps, it trickles from every crack. Um, right, Zach? Okay, you're not wrong. I love how he writes. You can tell. He even admits he's very angry. He has a lot of hatred for colonial societies, understandably. Okay, but isn't that well written? The idea that, like, well, no one in these European countries seem to care about what the tactics being used against non-European peoples that were basically the same thing. Now, um, oh, 100%. Meowzord, I could not agree more. And of course, as you know, Meowzord, I don't even like using the words, but if I'm going to use them, I will use them in a way that is correct, which, that barbarism is not confined to certain kinds of societies. Okay. Anyway, uh, all right. Yeah, guys, like, right? So interesting. Matt Saigai, hello, Matt Saigai. Okay. Um, so like there is no like barbarism, there's no such thing as like barbarians or anything, right? But um I just like using that word to highlight the how it is used, right? In a negative way. Okay. Anyway, but okay. So what was Mithril? I'm sorry. What did I say wrong? Did I say Meowzord? Forgive me. I must have seen the M. Anyway, okay. My apologies, Meowzord. My apologies. I just can't get you off my mind, Meowzord. That must be it. Okay, I probably just saw the M. Okay. All right. So, okay. Meowzord. All right. So let's go on. Let me give you some examples of this. Okay. Again, this is good in some ways. In my opinion, it's not great in other ways. Let's talk. Okay. Let me give you an example. So, let me tell you about something. Don't look at me that way, Druzilla. Don't look at me that way. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the Herero and Nama genocide. Okay. Who here has heard of this before? Has anyone here heard of this? Just tell me in chat if you're up to it. If you've ever heard of the Herero and Nama genocide. I would bet the vast majority of you have never even heard of this. Okay. So let's apply this Imperial boomerang theory, shall we? Um, I know, Drizel. I love it. Okay. You have, Zach. Okay. Good. At least one person have. Okay. Mithril has not. Again, I'm not expecting really anyone to have heard of it. I didn't know about it until I got to grad school. Um, okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So let's talk about it. Let's see how it applies to the Imperial Boomerang theory. Okay, most of you have not, all right? So, excellent. I'm glad none of you have heard of it, or most of you have not heard of it. So, Germany had a colonial empire. We don't talk about it much, but in Germany before World War One, and then during World War One, had a colonial empire. All right, um, especially down near South Africa in a place called Namibia. They had territorial ownings there in Namibia. Okay, um, and in there were several groups of natives that lived there, especially the Herero and the Nama. Okay. And in 1904, the Herero people, who were led by Samuel Maharero, and the Nama people, who were led by Captain Hendrik Witbooi, rebelled against German colonial rule. I'm not even going to go into why they rebelled. You can guess. They were being massively mistreated. They were in an apartheid state. They were being starved to death by high taxation. The Germans had engaged in racial science, pseudoscience. Okay, just like every colonial empire anywhere, they had been used as slave labor in a giant camp. They were they had reason to not be happy. They revolted. Okay, in response to this revolt, in August of 1904, German General Lothar von Trotha, um, who, by the way, should have been hung at The Hague, but that didn't exist at the time. Um, I think it's disgusting, Nim's noseball. I think it's disgusting. Okay. Anyway, he defeated the Ova Herero in the Battle of Waterberg and drove them into the desert. Okay. Drove them into the desert on purpose, where most of them died of dehydration. By the way, you're going to see more about this on the next page here. When he drove them into the desert, he guarded the edges of the desert and would shoot anyone, any male at least, trying to escape the desert. So it wasn't like they even had a chance to escape the desert. He drove them into the Namibian desert, and then let them starve to death, die of dehydration. Okay, yeah, okay. Um, and it is thought that between 24,000 and 100,000 Heraros and around 10,000 Nama were killed in this genocidal act. Again, most people don't even know about this. I know a lot of Germans who don't know about it. Okay. All right. Yep. Right, Dolly Boy. Very similar to things we see happening now. Remember, this is before the Nazis came to power. Okay, and this is part of the German Imperial Empire. Once they were defeated, by the way, the thousands of Hereros and Namas were imprisoned in concentration camps. There was one particularly bad one. What is it called? I can't remember. Damn it. Well, whatever it was, there was one. If someone could look it up, that'd be lovely. If not, it's okay. They one particularly bad one where the Germans actually did in medical experiments on the prisoners, like you see happen during the Holocaust, like you see the Japanese Imperial Army did. So thousands more died in these concentration camps. Yeah, right, Big Braden. Okay, so they actually had set up concentration camps and done experiments, just like you would see that ends up happening in Germany proper later. Okay. Let me read to you just to show you, and not to beat a dead horse here. Um, let me read to you. This is I actually uh this is an actual quote from Trotza's. Thank you, Weird Amorphous Blob. Shark Island. If you should look it up if you're more interested in it. I'm giving you a content warning. It's called Shark Island. Horrific facility that the Germans used and did horrible things to the Africans there. Okay. Anyway, this is actually taken from a letter that von Trotha sent to the Herero before when he banished them into the desert. I will read it to you. Okay. I, the great general of the German soldiers, send this letter to the Herero. The Herero are German subjects no longer. They have killed, stolen, cut off the ears and other body parts of wounded soldiers, and now are too cowardly to want to fight any longer. I announce to the people that whoever hands me one of the chiefs shall receive 1,000 marks and 5,000 marks for Samuel Mahero. The Herero nation must now leave the country. If it refuses, I shall compel it to do so with the long tube, which means the cannon. Okay. Any Herero found inside the German frontier with or without a gun or cattle will be executed. I shall spare neither woman nor child. I shall give the order to drive them away and fire on them. Such are my words to the Herero people. He went on. He went on. This was a proclamation he made to his troops after he had given the previous order. All right. This proclamation is to be read to the troops at roll call, with the addition that the unit that catches a captain will also receive the appropriate reward, and that shooting at women and children is to be understood only as shooting above their heads, so as to force them to run away. I assume absolutely that this proclamation will result in taking no more male prisoners, but will not degenerate into atrocities against women and children. The latter will run away if one shoots at them a couple times. The troops will remain conscious of the good reputation of the German soldier. And by the way, he's saying that, yeah, okay, maybe don't directly shoot at the women and children. Make them run them off into the desert to starve to death, okay? Because they're still not allowed in German society. They're only allowed in the desert, okay? Anyway, so guys, if you were to ever read any of the accounts of the Nazis during World War II, this guy sounds just like them. All right. His racial beliefs, the sound of his proclamation. Okay. And this was way before the Nazis, or not way before, but decades before the Nazis. Okay. In Germany's colonial empire. Okay. Totally, Zach. Okay. Yeah, thank you, folks. Yes, please like the stream if you haven't already. It'll help get more people in here. By the way, if I get two more super chats, I'll put on the caller. Thank you, guys. Okay. So why am I telling you about this? Remember the theory we're talking about, the boomerang theory. Okay. So, according to one particular historian named Benjamin Medley, the German experience in Southwest Africa was a crucial precursor to Nazi colonialism and genocide. He argues that personal connections, literature, and public debate served as conduits for communicating colonialist and genocidal ideas and methods from the colony to mainland Germany. Other academics disagree about this, and this is heavily debated. But this would be one example of where the actions of a colonial empire boomeranged back around and ended up returning to the people of the metropole, of like the main nation in a colonial empire. Okay. Um, Darius Stone, thank you for the question there. Hello, may I ask, became unemployed for speaking the truth. What did you say? Oh, Darius Stone, I just said what Israel was doing against the Palestinians was a genocide. If that's what you're referring to. Um, yeah, that's why I lost my job. Okay. All right. So, let me give you another example here. Let's talk about one. Let's talk about another one here. Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay. I do remember that during the War on Terror, the quote unquote War on Terror, how Guantanamo Bay in Cuba was used by the American government to imprison people without trial who were suspected of terrorism. And there's still people there today that have gone without trial, apparently. Okay. Thank you, Outer Signal. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And now what is it being used for? Now what is it being used for? It is being used to imprison people from the American mainland. Is it not? Started off being used to imprison people from the American Empire that were from all over the American Empire. Now it's being used to imprison people from the American mainland. Boomerang theory. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is Drusilla. Boomerang. Thank you so much, Matt Saiga. I will put on the collar for that. Okay. Um, that's another thing that kind of backs the idea that methods of colonial oppression tend to be turned back upon their populations. All right. Um, okay. Thank you so much, Matt Saigai. Okay. All right. Now, let me give you another example here. And forgive me, I know I'm not in the best lecturing mode today because I'm still a bit ill, but thank you everyone for bearing with me. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's think of another one. Okay. Now, this one, this might be a stretch on my part. This might be a stretch on my part. On the right, left here, you have a map of all the countries in which in the world that the United States has been involved in regime change in. Okay, it's kind of hard to see; it's a bit small. All the countries here in yellow are countries the United States has been actively involved in changing regimes in. Okay, whether by military, covert things. Okay, almost all of North of South Central and yeah, Matt Saiga, you're the best. Really, thank you all these countries in South America, Central America, etc. A lot of African countries, Middle Eastern countries. Okay. Um, oh, I know, Drusilla. I know, right, Drusilla? Totally correct. Drusilla says it's just unfair that boomerang theory. Yeah, yeah, Alan, absolutely. Every region in the world. And honestly, folks, I suspect this is not, they don't mark all the countries on here because, I mean, we've interfered almost everywhere. Like, anyway, I really doubt that this is all of them. I definitely know that we interfered in like Liberia, which is in West Africa, which isn't on this map. So, but this is only a small. I mean, this might be partially representative. Okay, yeah, Drusilla doesn't usually punish those who did the awful things. Okay, so let me give you another example of this. Right, boomerang theory. We have been overthrowing regimes all over the world, democratic regimes, all over the world, directly or indirectly. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Dolly Boy. I suspect much more of Africa would be lit up if we were actually if this were fully accurate picture. Oops. Um, that's why but I suspect this is inaccurate. Um, in many ways. Okay. So Uh, we've been overthrowing regimes all over the place, right? Yeah, Zach, we totally did. We overthrew the Cuban government. And then what ends up happening here? We get a dictator who's trying to overthrow a democratically elected government. Okay. Yep. One exactly, Meowsword. When you're a hammer, everything looks like a violent Antifa nail. Okay. Um, Oh, Matt Saigai, think really you did. Thank you, Matt Saigai. You're the best, Matt Saigai. Really, thank you very much, Matt Saigai. You really are the best there. Okay. Um, as always, Matt Saigai, you're my favorite. You're my favorite amongst anyone out there. Everyone, let it be known that Matt Saigai is my favorite. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Matt Saigai, for that. Really. Okay. Again, horseshoe theory. Horseshoe theory, okay? It comes back around. Um, I think that this is kind of a bad comparison. I wanted to make it because, well, actually, it might be a good comparison. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Dally Boy, you're right. You're right. Okay. You're right. Okay. And folks, by the way, this might be why it is useful to view human beings as human beings and not split them up by nationality, race, religion, because I can promise you, if any one group can be dehumanized and genocided, uh, that means that you are able to dehumanize humans generally. You can come up with an excuse to dehumanize anyone. So if we allow anyone to be dehumanized and genocided, it opens the door to anyone being dehumanized and genocided, including yourselves. And that is okay. When Trump spoke in Israel, he boasted about all the weapons we gave them and said they use them very well. Oh, that is so gross. Oh my God, that's disgusting. Yeah, absolutely, Zach. First they came for the communists and I did nothing. Then they came for the trade unionists and I said nothing. Yeah, okay. That is so gross, Alan. Yeah, totally, Dolly Boy. Okay. And now okay, you guys get what I'm saying here. Okay. That is the boomerang effect. Okay. Can we think of any other examples while we're here of the boomerang effect? Where America's imperial actions or any country's imperial actions have come back to bite them in the ass, or come back around to haunt them. Um, I know. Um, okay, AMA. I'm AMA. I take it back, Matt Saga. AMA is my favorite now. I'm just kidding, Matt Saga. I'm just kidding. Okay, AMA. Yes, thank you. 9/11. Right. 9/11. Our imperial actions in the Middle East are allowing people to bomb people in the Middle East, allowing Israel to bomb people in the Middle East. Our own actions in the Middle East bombing people ended up resulting in us being bombed. I mean that. Okay, that imperial boomerang. All right. The UK and Northern Ireland, 100% Mithril. The UK and Northern Ireland, right? Right. Okay. Um, Weirdomorphous Blob, can you be more specific? I think you're right, Weirdomorphous Blob, but about Turkey, what specifically about Turkey? I'm just kidding, Matt Saigai, forgive me. Okay, thank you so much for the money. Okay, thank you. Okay. Uh, um, okay, Afghanistan, yeah, Demosthenes, 100%. Okay. Uh, yeah, 100%, 100%, Zach. Okay. Any country that does that. Okay. So, right. I mean, this makes sense. Uh, okay. Um, so that is the imperial boomerang theory. Drusilla, we're actually lucky when it comes to that, Drusilla. So Drusilla here says you've been lucky how little backlash you've gotten for how much has been done by the US. Oh my God, Oz, 100%, 100%. The Roman Empire in Northern Europe, 100% Oz. Okay. And Drusilla. So one of the things about the United States that makes it easy for it to exhibit imperial control is geography. It is isolated from a lot of the rest of the world. It is hard to get to the United States if you want to do revenge on the United States, which has spared the United States a lot of the backlash that it would normally be getting. Yeah, exactly, Alan. But again, I suspect there will still be backlash. I don't know if it'll be direct backlash, but um, uh, well, hey, Dolly Boy, maybe actually, maybe, because all that money they spent to do that resulted partially in their own monarchy being overthrown. Yeah, Zach, and we have tons of guns here. True, too. Okay, that's a really good point, Zach. So again, but right now we are kind of facing backlash when it comes to economics and things like that. But regardless, this is what this is how that works. Okay, the imperial boomerang. Um, right, Alan. It's just kind of geography. Um, all right. All right. Um, and by the way, folks, real fast here, and I'm gonna just put my face up for a second while I finish talking about this. Um, oh, absolutely, Zach, I agree. So real fast here, when it comes to American geography, right? Um, you have to understand too. One of the reasons, forgive me, I don't know why my face is coming up here. Hello, there it is. Okay. One of the reasons why America became sort of a somewhat unipolar power after World War II is because Europe had destroyed itself. I mean, not like Europeans hadn't destroyed themselves. Basically, the Nazis had destroyed themselves. Okay, and or destroyed everyone. And America, being so geographically separate, was spared all the worst effects of the bloodiest war in human history. I mean, most of European infrastructure had been destroyed. Japanese infrastructure had been destroyed. We were lucky in that we were kind of the only ones left standing. Yes, it does, Matt Saigai. But Matt Saigai, I'm still kind of sick and I have a fever, so I'm kind of enjoying the heat because I kind of had chills. Uh, but yeah, you're right though, Matt Saigai. Okay, so that America's geography has been of great use to avoiding the worst things. But also it's been bad because it has made Americans not exposed to the worst effects of things like war, which makes it easier for Americans to glorify war and think that, war is a great thing and, we should go to war all the time because they don't directly experience the effects of it. There's a lot that goes into this, but just an interesting thought there. Which, okay, guys. Um, what I want to do, first of all, here, I wanted to talk to you all about something briefly. Let me just talk about this real fast. Okay. So I got into an argument on Instagram yesterday. Yeah, yep, exactly, Alan. And we were at war with Mexico once, but Mexico is not a threat to us. Like, we don't have to worry ever about Mexico attacking the United States. That would be suicidal for Mexico to do. Like, we live a very luxurious life over here in the United States. A lot of countries don't live that. Okay, they're surrounded by other nations, some of which are hostile to them. I mean, think Ukraine or whatever. We're not. I mean, maybe Canada will become that way soon, but you see what I mean. Um, which is bad in some ways, in my opinion. Um, okay, so I got into an. I now, by the way, folks, you can believe whatever you want to about 9/11. I just need to do a little tirade here. Please forgive me. Okay, you know that after 9/11, there were all these, right, Big Braden. Okay, you know that after. See, I'm holding a lighter here. I don't know why. I think for my candle. I don't even know where my candle is. Whatever. I just want it. Yeah, luxury. Exactly, Drusilla. Like, and don't get me wrong, we don't have luxury over here, Drusilla, but our geography is luxurious. Okay. No, Drusilla, that was not mean. That was simply a factual observation, right? The only luxury we have though is our geography, which makes it easier for us to be safe from other countries. Okay. The rest, everything else is a shithole. Okay. All right. Okay. So, we 9/11. Whenever there's a really big event, people tend to develop conspiracy theories. It is a human nature to do that. Okay. Okay, you can believe what you want about 9/11, but I'm telling you, those towers collapsed because a plane hit them, because two planes hit them. There was not some thermite bomb going off in the middle of those planes. Okay. Yeah, there was not molten steel leaking out of the two buildings, which is a sign that the steel pillars in those buildings had melted, which is impossible due to no, 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 no. Okay. I'm just tired of lefties. Please forgive me. And liberals, by the way, talking about this. I don't care. Like, it's funny to me almost because it also ignores it makes it a less America's fault too. Like, what I mean is like it completely ignores American actions overseas that may have made people want to bomb us. Exactly, in your groove. Thank you. You said it. I didn't have to in your groove, folks. When you heat up structural steel, it starts losing its ability to hold weight. You don't need you don't need to melt it for it to collapse. And yeah, those steel beams were not hot enough for it to melt. They were definitely hot enough for them to start collapsing because after a certain temperature, it will begin to collapse. Okay. And there are other, I'm sorry, now I'm on my rant here. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah, right. Absolutely, Oz. Thank you, Malzord. Okay, you guys are okay. Maybe I shouldn't have to do this because all of you seem to know. I've already lost like 3 or 4 viewers after I started talking about this. I'm okay with it. Okay, Malzord. Yes, that's the other thing too, folks. Big jet hit building at high rate of speed, cause damage to steel beams, which then heat up, contort, and collapse. Okay, okay. One of the things too that is funny is that there are people from the day who are like, look, there's molten metal dripping out of the two towers. That couldn't be. That's not possible unless the beams melted, which is not possible. Folks, there were more than one kind of metal in that building and on that plane. As a matter of fact, the main metal on the airplane was aluminum or aluminum, which has a much lower rate of melting. So I would guess that that melting that came out of the plane was probably aluminum. Okay, because that would be a liquid metal at that point. Anyway, okay, please forgive me. You all can believe whatever you want. You're wrong, but you can believe whatever you want. Okay, I get it, Alyssa. It's okay. Okay. Matt Saigai. Don't worry about it, Matt Saigai. Don't worry about it. Just stay in your uh stay in your happy place, Matt Saigai. Don't worry about this is a dispute amongst Americans. Okay, I'm just kidding, Matt Saigai. Okay. Meowzord, I love the slow motion detectives who noticed an explosion. Oh, I know, Meowzord. Right, Meowzord. The pressure coming down on the floors, which are blowing out. Yeah, no, Alyssa. Don't get me wrong, Alyssa. I was suspicious too, and don't get me wrong. Like I was suspicious too, and don't. Yeah, okay. Um. Oh, okay. That's fair. That is fair, Matt Saiga. I'm sorry, a big Braden. I guess people also believe it in Canada. It makes sense. We bet a lot of people think it was the United States government. I don't blame them. Regardless, folks, I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know why, but since the anniversary of 9/11, I've been seeing, yeah, 100% Matt Saiga. That's what it is. Okay. Um, uh, is it the flu medicine? Maybe you know what, Drusilla. It might be. I might just be kind of loony. Okay. Uh, Oh, I know. Right. They are very entertaining, Mithril. Okay. And folks, conspiracy theories are entertaining, but when people take them seriously, I lose my mind. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I do. Like if you were to critique someone and then they lose their mind because they're convinced it's right, that's what I can't stand. Uh, all right. I'm sorry. My rant is done, folks. My rant is done. I apologize for anything I did, for everything I've ever done. Yeah, that is true, Meowzord, and I think Alan mentioned that too. Okay, oh, me too, Big Brain. Okay, um, yeah, thank you, Demosthenes, thank you. Yes, that so-called explosion was called air pressure. When one level crashes down on another, it's going to blow air out. Okay, okay, oh, Dolly Boy, and don't get me wrong. There are some conspiracies out there that are real. You know, let's think about the Jeffrey Epstein files. I mean, that's a pretty big conspiracy that's obviously true. Okay. I mean, in my opinion, right? Maybe I'm being conspiratorial here. There are, for example, if anyone's ever heard, right? That is so interesting, Alan. Trump said he deserves credit. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Uh, yeah. Yeah, right, Drizella. Okay. Um, yeah, there are like MK Ultra was a real one. Um, oh no, Alyssa, completely. There's always like threads of truth in some of these things. But I also as a historian, folks, whenever there's an event like this in history, you suddenly see the rapid proliferation of conspiracy theories. So I don't have any trust in them because I know that they always come about. It's a psychological thing people do. Um, Yeah, 100% Dolly Boy. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there are there are some out there that, folks just, you know what I'm saying here. Just be careful. Some of them might be more real. Um yeah, exactly, Demosthenes. Well, Alyssa, it's been studied, Alyssa. It's been studied by a psychologist. When something really big and traumatic happens, people have mental disconnect. I forget the word here. Yeah, thank you, Trump failed. Yeah, oh, there. Okay, the lost cause for the. Yeah, me too, Matt Saigai. Me too. Um. Oh, I know, Druzilla. I can't. I'm excited for that, Druzilla. By the way, Druzilla, I'm gonna yell at you, Druzilla. I'm gonna blame you for the person you recommended to me. Okay, no, atheist. What is it? Apostate punk never got back to me. You know what though? Maybe I will just send them a message over on Discord. Okay. I do like him a lot. Uh, all right. Oh, hey, Tiago. Tiago's here. Hello, Tiago. Welcome, Tiago. Um, yeah, 100 Meowsword, 100%. Um, yeah, no, you're right, Dolly Boy. And like, that's the thing, right, folks? Dolly Boy, you're making really good points here. Like, let's think about the QAnon shit, right? Guys, it sounds crazy for me to say, but looking back, there was a thread of truth in QAnon. The vast majority of QAnon was batshit crazy loony stuff, okay? But there is definitely a cabal of pedophiles that are doing some shit in the United States, okay? I mean, when you think about Epstein and things like that, okay? But oh, that's too bad, Rizal. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Yeah, cognitive dissonance, okay? But so again, some of these things can have a thread of truth. A lot of them don't. Anyway. Yeah, you're right. It's like even you're right, Alan, okay? Uh okay. So, I am done with that, folks. I just needed to you're all my therapists. I needed to rant about that. Okay. Oh, I got you, Tiago. Hello, welcome. Um, but does the cabal survive on adrenochrome? Exactly, Alyssa. No, it does not. Okay. Like, yeah, no, I agree, Matt Sai guy, because, yeah, okay, yeah, it's easier to manipulate people with half truths. Okay. Unfortunately, not. They do not survive on adrenochrome, Melissa. Okay. Um, yeah, right. Weird amorphous blob. And folks, to me, a lot of these are distractions from what the United States is actually doing in the world and what the elites are doing, picking all of our pockets and rigging the system in their favor while we're all, talking about the adrenochrome that the elites are feeding themselves to stay alive forever and the satanic rituals they're having or whatever the hell. Um, yeah, no, you're right, Dolly Boy. Bohemian Grove actually exists. It is a real place, and it certainly doesn't help the elites that it's a real place. Obviously, none of the weird stuff that is claimed to happen there happens there. I mean, none of the like satanic, mystical stuff. But yeah, um, a half truth is that Casual Revolt is called Sam, and he's a very handsome man. What's the truth there, Tiago? Okay, hello. Who said that? What is it? Matt Sai guy, really, Matt Sai guy. I want to spare you from the world of. I want to spare your virginal ears from the world of American conspiracy nonsense. Okay, a cabal. So Matt Sai guy, like a group of secret elites that control everything. And there is something called the QAnon conspiracy theory, Matt Sai guy, in the United States that was very popular for a while that there is a cabal of Satan worshiping pedophiles who extract adrenochrome from children and then use it to keep themselves alive in perpetuity. Again, Matt Saigai, go over to Discord. I'm sure we can give you all the details you want. I'm sure we can give you. Oh, you're right. You're right. I forgot that part. Weird amorphous blob. Okay. All right, Drizella. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Drizella. Okay. Um. I okay. So now, folks, now that I'm done on my little rampage here, I wanted to show you a few. I have some things to react to. We imported this shitty theory. Oh, I know, Tiago. We have exported this theory elsewhere. Our lunacy spreads all over the world. Um. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So Monster Inc. Blob. Yes, yes, I love it. Okay. All right. So Meowzord sent me this. This is, and we've watched the second. Oh my God, where's my swear? I don't know what my camera's doing today. We watched a while back the new aesthetics of fascism. This one is here it is. Okay, this one is about the aesthetics of anti-fascism. Okay, and you watch Emma Thorne. They're good. Wait, I'm sorry. What are you talking about, Matt Saigai? Am I blind? Um, yeah. Oh, he's so good, Dolly Boy. So I thought we could watch it. Thank you so much for sending this mail, Sword. I've been looking forward to whatever this guy publishes next. He's quite an artist in how he does these things. So what time is it? Let me double check here. Okay, we got time. So let's watch this together, okay? I am very curious about what he has to says about, because we've talked a lot about how the aesthetics of fascism works. We have talked very little. Um, okay, thank you, Malzord. Uh, w- we watched the second part of it, which was about the new aesthetics of fascism, and now let's watch the part where he talks about the aesthetics of anti-fascism. Yeah, right, Malzord. I agree. Definitely impeccable font choice there. Okay, from what I've seen of the other ones. All right. Um, okay. Uh, all right, so let's watch this together, folks. Let's see what he has to say. I'm gonna make sure it's turned up a bit. All right. I'll try to comment as much as possible. This is also good for me, so I don't have to use my voice as much. I can just make comments when I can. I'm sorry, guys. Who is Emma Thorne? I've never heard of this person. Just let me know if you guys don't mind. I'll look it up. Am I like hallucinating? I've never heard the name Emma Thorne before. Antifa, you're right, Alyssa. This guy right here is Antifa. He's Antifa because he is the Antifa.
Feeling overwhelmed, hopeless, defeated.
Oh, guy. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, I will take a look at Mithra. I'll take a look at the suggestions. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Weird amorphous blob. That's all I have to know, and I think you know that. An atheist YouTuber who's pretty liberal. Fun.
I get why a lot of you asked me, what should we do now? A very difficult question, especially for a guy who just uploads videos on YouTube. There are definitely more qualified professionals who can answer this question more precisely, but here's how I see it. I think there's both a simple and difficult answer to this. But before we get to that, I need to emphasize that this feeling of paralysis and doomerism is one key aspect of friendly fascism. That slow hypernormalization of dehumanizing rhetoric, policies, and culture combined with the overconsumption of information and slop online is overwhelming.
Okay, guys, I'll definitely take a look into this person. I know I'm like I don't know her, so I'll take a look. That's interesting. If she's in the suggestions, maybe we can watch her after this, and I can be introduced to her.
White noise that's hard to turn off. You're not alone with this. But that's
I'm looking
exactly why
her
I
up on
think
my
there are
phone
two
while I'm
very
listening.
different answers to this question. Organizing, political participation, community building, focusing on the right issues. But the thing is, and I'm only speaking for myself here, how am I even supposed to take the first step? When I'm feeling that hopeless and tired. See, that's the difficult part. But let me explain the easier answer first. Right-wing populists and fascists are masters at creating moral panics through culture war.
Yes.
That moral panic can be mobilized into political action.
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusion, because we are the War Department. Godspeed.
Room, attention.
He thinks he's so badass. You can tell. Like, he's imagining himself as a child playing with a G.I. Joe and being like, I'm that soldier now. Like, God.
Culture war is to some degree important, as that's how you can most effectively communicate to the
I
masses and
agree, we're
influence
more
the
fun.
ideologies and the present zeitgeist. However, this is how it
Hilarious,
might lose
however.
focus on what actually matters. Never confuse culture war with class war. I fear that by participating too much in these online debates brings the danger of giving you the feeling of actually doing something, like posting black squares or an AI-generated image of Gaza as a sign of solidarity.
Imagine there's no heaven.
DEI initiatives, culture appropriation, inclusive language, yes, is important, but imagine communicating all that to a bus driver. Herbert is not concerned about black mermaids or if his language is offensive or not. He just wants to be able to pay his rent, have free healthcare, and a secure retirement. We need to redirect the important issues to people lost in culture war topics. Us.
So, okay, I have to hear what else he has to say here. I largely agree. I feel like there is an overemphasis on like social media things for a lot of people, but can't we do it all at the same time? Like, I think what he's trying to say, and I could be wrong. I think he's trying to say like we shouldn't, like just because we're doing things like posting crap online, that we need to do more than just that. Which I agree with. So if that's what he's saying, it's fine. Yeah.
Included, because culture war doesn't just cause moral panics among right-wingers or conservatives, but among everyone. We can't get too emotionally invested in these chronically online debates. Fascist's greatest ability
What did that say? Forgive me. I'm going to go back a bit.
is to co-opt every niche community that exists, which is why culture war is a
What if you look at?
panics among right-wingers or conservatives, but among everyone. We can't get too emotionally invested in these chronically online debates.
Yeah. Okay.
Fascist's greatest ability
that's
is to
funny.
co-opt every
I appreciate that. Okay. I love this guy. He's self-critiquing. Brilliant. Okay.
niche community that exists, which is why culture war is a powerful tool. According to them, trans people are today's enemies, and maybe tomorrow it's everyone who likes Imagine Dragons. In-groups and out-groups can be redefined instantly with the help of culture war. Nowadays, every issue, no matter how trivial, is framed as an attack on their identity. Everything is personal.
Yeah.
ambiguity!
If you are a gamer and see gaming as part of who you are, then the narrative becomes,
Thank you, Matt.
look, everything you once knew is now changing for the sake of political correctness. Therefore, who you are and what you enjoy wasn't apparently correct enough. Whatever it is, whatever you enjoy, even love, is wrong. You're a bad person because of that. Gaming becomes part of your identity and therefore a perfect vulnerability to exploit. And guess who is definitely partly to blame here? Me, liberals, or leftists with their identity politics. Identity politics means that people fight for their rights because, based on characteristics such as skin color, gender, orientation, or religion, they share similar experiences. In itself, it was a useful analytical tool when the term was coined by black feminists in 19.
So, folks, and again, I don't know what he's going to go with this. I really like what he's saying so far. When it comes to identity politics, yeah, I am not a fan of. Now, I'm saying this because I used to study methods of social control and stuff, and I only see a problem with how people are always dividing themselves into subgroups in the working class. And it is no surprise to me that wealthy, powerful liberals oftentimes promote organizations that do things like like you might have a wealthy African American who's an elite who backs an organization that supports rights for Black people specifically, but does nothing to actually improve the economic underpinnings of Black life or the working class at all. Or you will have like someone like Hillary Clinton who does a bunch of stuff for women without actually doing anything to change the fundamental economic makeup of the country, which is what is the worst, which is the worst part of things for women. You'll also have wealthy elites who advocate for gay rights and things like that without mentioning at all the need for universal health care or universal housing. Um, I I just don't like how identity politics is used to divide people and prevent it from it is mithril. It divides people. That's my opinion. Um, yeah, and uh, that is not to say I don't think that the goals of these movements aren't important. They absolutely are important, but it's becoming an issue where um, these groups don't even want to work together. A lot of them, and to me, that's a problem. Uh, and I'm saying this also, folks. I've been in contact with the organization trying to organize a national union, and whenever I go over on their Discord server, they have it broken up into a bunch of subsections of like LGBTQ, uh, POC, what else is there? They have a bunch of like subsection groups there, and they are constantly fighting with each other. And almost nothing can get done because there's always someone bringing up something. I it just I don't know. It's something I have an issue. I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly, Drusilla. That's my concern is, and I need to look more into this. I did study social control. Um, there is an irony about needing to hive mind a bunch of individualists. Yeah, right, Meowzord. And it bothers me. And I'm having trouble even talking about this because I am a gay man. I understand the struggles of gay people and the need to fix those problems. Trust me. That being said, honest to me, class politics are far more important. I would gladly give up on some of the short-term goals I have for the LGBTQ community if I were to get the larger goals necessary for the working class. Because guess what? Achieving those goals would be far better for gay people, okay, than any one thing we could do in specifically for gay rights, if that makes sense. Hello, Toya. Okay. Um, but I even get nervous talking about it because I'm like worried I'll get pushback, especially as a white guy saying these things. Um, and you'll notice, like in my Discord community, I don't break up people by. I don't have any channels that break off people into LGBTQ or like racial differences or anything. And it's going to stay that way because we are all interacting together. We're all human beings. And how can we hear each other also if we're off in our own little anyway? I'm off my soapbox here, okay? So I like his point here about the identity politics stuff. Yeah, exactly, Luke. Totally right. And by the way, folks, this is also true. When you have a group that stays in an isolated, um, uh, that stays in an isolated information silo, okay? What tends to happen is it becomes easier to demonize other people and dehumanize them. I have seen gay people who hate straight people, and it is hard to convince them otherwise because they are surrounded by radicals who think that there are no straight people out there that care anything for gay people. I'm not even joking. Or I've met trans people that are the same way, or I've met black people who feel the same way about white people because they're in an information silo, all right? And it is hard to form connections with other groups of people if you're only around people that think the same way as you. And of course, there are white people, obviously. I mean, what, like half of America at this point who hate other groups of people, okay? So I'm not just saying that, but I feel like, anyway, it works to divide people. It bothers me, okay? It does. That's it, okay? Um, yeah, but right, Victoria, and I feel, Victoria, that if you break down those walls that are built up by capitalism, a lot of those other rights will come much easier. Black folks, for example, will be far more equal to white folks if they are given the economic considerations that they need. Okay, as in if they're given universal health care, housing, and things like that. I don't hate you, Tiago. What do you mean? Did I miss something you said, Tiago? Hello, Tiago. I'm trying to see if I missed something you said. Hello, Kimberly, by the way. I didn't see you come in either. I don't see anything. I'm sorry, Tiago. I don't see that you said anything. Well, but I don't hate you, Tiago. I love you, Tiago. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Um, okay. Demosthenes, I love being told that because I'm a straight white man. My opinions on what, yeah, and Demosthenes, that stuff bothers me. Okay, that stuff bothers me. Like being told, and folks, okay, this is gonna get spicy, folks. Jesus Christ, please, no one clip this. Okay, one second. All right, it is not an argument to say that you should just listen to someone and that they must be right because they're in a minority group. I'm sorry, it's not. Like, yes, we should listen to the voices of everyone. But if you say, the biggest issue is that we need to listen to this group or another group, that ignores, but that doesn't matter. What is it that they're saying, right? Like this idea that white folks, for example, can't have an opinion on uh, on the rights for black folks. I just think it's asinine. I do. Or like that straight people can't have an opinion on what's the best way to liberate gay people, or that because you are gay, or because you're so, or because you're some minority, you somehow have a monopoly on the truth of a situation doesn't mean anything to me. I'm sorry. I can name to you, I can aim to you I can name to you, for example, horrible gay people who should not have any right to become not any right. Okay, that's framed badly. Um, okay, like okay, like there are gay people who make terrible decisions about things. Obviously, right? And does that mean that okay, again, I want to be clear. Of course we should listen to minorities. Everyone should have a voice. And I think a lot of definitely minorities who have been in experiences that we cannot fathom, we should listen to them. But that doesn't mean they have any special insight into how the fix. Um, okay. No, Alan, I agree with you. Okay. There is a lot of white people do have um, uh and like have this sense of like entitlement that they have better thoughts than other people, but and again, you see what I mean, like which is a big issue, uh but again though, like it should be based off which ideas are the best, whether it come from like a white person, a black person, a gay person, a straight person, um and yeah, and so does this make sense to everyone? I don't want to alienate anyone out there. It's also almost a type of fascism. Oh, sorry. What are you referring to there, Meowzord? In case I missed it. Um. Uh. But folks, if we're ever going to have a more collectivist society, we got to get over those boundaries there, right? Um. Anyway, it's just what thought of mine, and folks, we can disagree on it. Okay. Uh. All right. Okay. I'm off my high horse here. Does anyone else have any? Did I miss any comments to respond to here? I just want to make sure. Okay. Yes. Yeah, no, you're right, Tiago. I guess all I'm saying is that, yeah, right, Marky, right. Um, so, like, okay, yeah, and that's kind of my point, weird amorphous blob. Yeah, yeah, okay, oh, yeah, right, Meowsword, I agree. Okay, um, I just don't like that idea of like some people's voices are more important when seeking the truth than others. Yeah, and that's my thought, folks. Like, as long as they're right, okay, like, as long as the person is right. Let me add one last thing here, okay? I am not demonizing people who do feel this way. Let me give you an example here. There are a lot of women out there who have major trauma associated with men. Obviously, okay, understandably, major trauma. And so a lot of women, for example, do have trauma-based responses to situations that they're in, and those are very important to understand and to reconcile with, right? Because men have done a great deal of harm to a lot of women. Same thing with a lot of minority groups have a lot of trauma and things like that at the hands of oppressors, which can cause certain reactions when having these kind of debates and things like that. Okay, I'm not diluting that, but it is still true though that but you see what I'm saying, right? Um, but it can lead to a situation where entire groups are being demonized for the actions of a few people, maybe even a lot of people, but for an actions of a subset of that group. Um, okay. Uh, all right. Uh, anyway. Okay, I'll shut up now. All right. I will continue watching this. Yeah. Oh, guys, and you're right, Tiago. I would like to point out that as a white man here, I'm saying as like my opinion should be held just as valuable as anyone else's opinion, and my opinion should definitely not be held more in value than anyone else's opinion. Because let's be honest, that does happen a lot. Okay, where people's like where we don't take people like white people will not take into account the opinions or the struggles of lower income people, etc. So we need to hear everyone's opinion, but just having an opinion doesn't mean you're more right, if that makes sense. Yeah, and Alan, is that more because of race? Okay, admittedly, there are racial based things there, Alan. But wouldn't you say that if there was a universal healthcare system, that a lot of those things could be fixed? Um, and if that makes sense. Like, and I that yeah, a lot of times black and brown communities are marginalized in this country 100%. Um, but I can tell you that some of the most powerful African American senators and Congress people in the country are deeply corrupt. And yet they're constantly claiming to be the bearers of MLK's legacy and, that if you disagree with them, you're racist, even though they are deeply, deeply, deeply corrupt. The Congressional Black Caucus being one example of that. Um, so yeah, and then you got Bernie Sanders, who's a white guy who's advocating for universal health care. You see what I'm saying here, okay? And you also, by the way, have black folks that are advocating for the same thing. I'm not trying to say it's just a white guy that's doing this, okay? Anyway, all right.
1977.
All right. So let's continue with this. I'm kind of done ranting about this. Okay, I am. All right. Let's continue.
It was meant to understand and analyze their experiences as black women in society. This made it possible.
Yeah, you know what, Alan, I completely agree with you. And there's a lot of signs that there are like racial biases built into the healthcare system that would not be repaired with universal healthcare. That is a fair point, Alan.
To grasp the hierarchies and dynamics among different marginalized groups. It also helped create safe spaces for these oppressed communities. Today, however, the identity features are being expanded and overemphasized. From rather important points like pronouns, neurodivergence to veganism, down to your favorite content creator, film or video game. My concern is that this overemphasis on the self will in the worst case lead to the formation of more and more isolated groups. Out of a completely understandable point of self-protection, identity groups often find it difficult to let in people who don't match the identity points. This makes intersectional and solidaristic cooperation harder. It also leads to more vicious signaling. Veggie days are introduced instead of addressing structural problems of healthcare or animal rights. People kneel instead of tackling systemic racism or police violence. A woman is elected into high office while children in the Middle East keep getting bombed. Herbert couldn't care less if his landlord is a Girl boss slay queen as long as he's still paying unaffordable rent. This lets us pat ourselves on the back without actually changing anything. This comes across as arrogant, smug, and out of touch.
We were not separatists. We strongly believe in coalition. I believe that the way that it has been misunderstood and misinterpreted is because other people came up with the same concept. I came on your show to say, do not blame me
Okay, Luke.
for what has happened to identity politics, because people have not read the original source. And if they did, they might feel a little more comfortable around what it was we were saying.
By doing this, we are playing into the hands of fascists and right-wing populists. When the self and the traits that make up one's identity are overemphasized and placed front and center,
Yeah.
it provides a
And yeah, you're right, Oz. You're totally right. They are. Something else too, though. Like, I really like this video. That's great. Trump failed. Like, he's right here. Like I've said, the big thing that bothers me about I don't even like using the phrase identity politics, is that it has been co-opted by the elites as a way to suppress dissent, okay, or to distract people. Um, like we all remember all the crap around Hillary Clinton, being a woman and things like that. And yeah, there was a lot of sexism against her. But the media hyper focused on that and completely ignored all the shit she had done and all the she was a horrendous person in almost every way. She was deeply corrupt. Okay. But the media would then just go along and say it's because she's a woman. It's because she's a woman. You know what that sounds like to people? It sounds like you're blaming the voters. Like, people don't like being spoken to that way. Like, you don't like Hillary Clinton because you're sexist. Like, uh, okay, let's say, yeah, I admit there's a lot of sexism in the country. And then, by the way, even her campaign did this. You're not going to get people on your side, though, by saying that the reason they don't like you is sexism. Maybe, maybe you should offer them something, okay, which she was not doing at all. Um, okay. Yeah, I just, again, by the way, America, an extremely sexist country who has never had a woman head of state, unlike tons of countries in the Islamic world, Europe, etc., the United States still backwards as fuck, still don't have a woman as president. That being said, okay, you see what I'm saying, okay? And I could say that also about, yeah, no, right, Drizilla. Uh, yeah, guy, like we don't like being talked down to. I just, I don't like that approach. Um, and okay, I don't know if you guys remember, but after Kamala lost her election, do you know what her campaign said the issue was? They said, "Oh, she lost because she's a black woman," which completely misses the point. Um, like you don't have any self-critical view if you assign it to identity. Um, Like, then so you did nothing wrong then, huh? And as a matter of fact, some commentators even said, "No, she ran a perfect campaign. It was perfect. She lost." Does that make it a perfect campaign? Like, okay, I'm sorry. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. Okay. Um,
perfect attack opportunity for fascists, or anyone really, because now every issue can be interpreted as part of one's identity. It leads to greater polarization, more individualism, and less solidarity.
oh, absolutely, Tiago. Okay.
Back during the days of Gamergate,
Yeah, I totally agree with him. Meowzord, what are you going to tell me? So do you generally agree with him? I mean, maybe you can wait to tell me till the end, but
I myself was radicalized. I started consuming manosphere content and anti-social justice warrior videos. PewDiePie introduced me to Ben Shapiro, and from there I ended up with Jordan Peterson. I was about 18 or 19 at the time, and holy shit, I cringed so hard thinking about that period. But luckily, I had people around me who didn't isolate me, communicated with me on eye level, and never took the moral high ground. They had
Victoria, would you clarify? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You say F any deep analysis regarding Kamala losing. It's so tabula rasa. I know what tabula rasa is. I'm for some reason I'm having trouble. Um, comprehending your statement. If you could you, is there a way you could rephrase it? Anyway,
every right to distance themselves. But they didn't. The amount of patience and endurance they must have had to be exhausting. That led me to self-reflect and grow as a person. And creators who participated in culture war also helped pull me out of that hole. So yes, culture war is important, but what actually mattered was the patience, charity, and love from others. Soren Mamdani in New York or Die Linke in Germany have shown us something simple but powerful. Actually listening and talking to people works. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Crazy. Sympathizing with people's struggles and understanding where their anger comes from, mostly social issues, often reveals just how misguided that anger is. The campaign shows us that focusing on real social issues,
Okay.
like affordable housing, is key. Because that's what the majority of people are struggling with. Yes, the majority.
Right,
And this
Drusilla
is
Rar.
a hugely misunderstood point. Most AfD or Trump voters are not the poorest of the poor, but come from the middle class. They are driven by the fear of downward mobility. That's why we need to adapt the one thing fascists are masters at: communicating through emotion. Facts and logic
Yes.
alone never works. Emotional
Yep.
narrative is
Guys, haven't I said this? I'm sorry, I got to take credit. Have I been saying this? We need we need revolutionary optimism. We need to give people a positive view of the future. We need some sort of emotional thing.
king. We need to be more populist.
Look, these people on top are not nice people. They want more and more. They don't have $1 million. That's chump change.
Yeah.
And we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in some case.
The first decision that we made
How dare
was
you,
to
Tiago.
listen to New Yorkers. A lot of times politicians will lecture New Yorkers as to what they should care about. Say, these are the things that you should be asking me about. And we wanted to go out to New Yorkers and ask them, what do you care about in this city? And we heard from them cost of living, cost of living, cost of living.
The author Paulo Freire
Weird Amorphous Blob. You know I love you, Weird Amorphous Blob. Weird Amorphous Blob said, wait, so you're telling me saying, no, we won't offer anything, just vote for us or you hate minorities isn't an effective political strategy. Yeah, exactly. Hey, that is what I'm saying. Yeah, yes, Weird Amorphous Blob, okay. And the Democratic Party, that's what they do. Or they've done in the last several elections. And it doesn't work. It's been shown not to work. Along with not offering any significant change. Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, I see what you're saying, Toy. Yeah, absolutely, right? And that's not to say it wasn't a factor. I acknowledge, right? It's very possible that her being a woman and black made some people not vote for her. But I don't think it was the reason she lost. Um I also and yeah, and it completely allows you to escape any analysis other than that. Okay. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Tiago. Yeah, Obama was black and he won. Now he was a man, but yeah, yeah, there you go, Alan. Right, like it's a hurdle you have to overcome, and she could have easily overcome it if she would have put forward progressive policies that actually helped people at where they were. And the Democratic Party failed so miserably that they allowed for a second time a fascist to take over. Um, uh, right, Kimberly. So, right, Kimberly. I agree. Like a lot will not want to vote for a black woman. So, Kimberly, if we think that's the case, what would be the solution for next time? Because if the idea here is that so many people wouldn't vote for her, that made her lose, it seems to me the implication to that is then, well, we shouldn't have a black woman ever run, which I think is a repulsive idea, or it should be that like what is the alternative then? If we just say that like it's because she was black and a woman, then it seems to me that the natural conclusion from that would be no more black women running, right? Which is gross because I don't think that is the issue, right? It should be. I think that yeah, there are some people, but she needed to do a policy that promoted. She needed to do better policies. She didn't have good policies at all. And she was very popular at first, but then she drew back on those policies. Okay. Anyway, you see what I mean? Like, of course, I think a black woman can win, or or a black man can win, or a gay man can win, as long as they have very good policies and they convince people. All right. Yes, Paulo Freire, absolutely. Victoria, you know. Oh, okay, Kimberly, I got you. I'm sorry, Kimberly. Yeah, okay, I got you. All right, let's continue.
Realized and described as early as 1970 that oppressed groups are often silenced by lack of power and internalized beliefs. However, breaking this culture of silence is necessary
Absolutely,
for social
Alan,
transformation.
absolutely.
By developing critical consciousness, individuals are able to perceive.
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I'm loving the conversation here. Yeah, like she presented a few good policies at the very beginning, and then as money flowed into her campaign from big donors, suddenly she started pulling back those policies. I wonder why. Do we think it has to do with the corruption? Yeah, and you're right, Meowsword. She also came off as schmarmy and performative. She did. She did. Biden did too, by the way. In a lot of ways. So did Hillary Clinton. So did okay. Okay, anyway, uh, Kamala, nothing will fundamentally change Harris. Yep, absolutely. Okay. All right. Okay. They do, Alyssa, they do, right? Which is why, yeah, totally, and Alyssa, like that's the thing too. Like, uh, I have gotten into. I don't know if I want to say that. Let me rephrase this. Um, it is an issue with a class of people, the elites, who are disconnected from reality, who are bribed by big donors. It doesn't matter if they're gay, straight, black, white, man, woman. Okay, they're in the same class. Class identification is far more important than ethnic identity, religious identity, or whatever. They act the same way. They hold the same values. Um, uh, yeah, she lost because she cackled, right? Like, uh, God. Um, yeah, and yeah, no, yeah, okay. Yes, and that guys, thank you, Malzord. You all know Obama was brilliant, was a brilliant politician. I disagree with a lot of what he did when he got into office, but boy, did that man know how to run a campaign, right? He presented the revolutionary optimism. Do we remember what his campaign slogan was? It was hope and change, right? Hope, change. We can do it. We can make America better. The image for his campaign was a sun. Yes, we can. Exactly, Alan. The image for his campaign was a sun coming up over a horizon, over a field, like a farm field. Um, uh, like again, yeah, no, agreed, Meowsord, right? As long as they can present as that way. Um, and like I can even see in chat here, people are getting motivated just thinking about him. Where the hell did that energy go? Like, where did it go? The Democrats incompetent, so incompetent. Yeah, and the people fear change so much that the next year they choose Trump. Yeah, you're right. I will say, but that's the thing, Toy Toy Toy. Did they fear change, or did they feel that Kamala was offering more of the same? And they viewed Trump as the change candidate, because that's the impression I got. Um, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll continue here. I know I'm on a rant here. I think the drugs are kicking in. The legal drugs, right? The painkillers, the cough suppressants. Okay. All right. Let's continue
And
this.
challenge oppressive structures, becoming agents of their own
Yeah.
destiny. Genuine dialogue can be the foundation for mutual learning. But let's not be naive here. Most people are difficult to reach, even with unlimited patience and persistence. Always take care of yourself first, and don't feel bad for keeping distance.
Drusilla.
If a person chooses to be a
I'm sorry,
fascist,
Toy Toy. Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. I am like misinterpreting everyone because I keep Yes, Toy Toy. You meant after Obama's term. I got you. Yeah, exactly, Dolly Boy. He did.
is simply hostile, that person becomes a threat. Shareability has its limits, especially for scumbags.
JDH. So I will say he's not being as specific as I would like him to be. He's kind of talking in generalities here. Like, so what does he think that the aesthetics of anti-fascism should be then? Maybe he'll talk about it more.
Organize, organize, organize. Meaningful liberation requires both reflection and action. Not just understanding the world, but to actively working to change it. Join protests, call your local representatives, go to town halls, vote, join your local anti-fascist groups, find communities, do social work, join parties, or simply casually talking to the people around you. Anything. But
JDH,
please, for the
I love
love
that.
of God, stop doing petitions. Fascism is on the
Yeah.
rise, but so is anti-fascism. Economic
That is
conditions
true. And remember, folks, we've talked about this. It's a dialectic, right? When you see the rise of the far right, you also see a rise of the far left.
and global events are giving people the clarity to identify the real problem. We need to call out liberals for betraying their supposed values, for compromising them until nothing remains but hollow gestures, compromising their values until it's hollowed out completely.
I'll tell you what, folks, the liberals are going to be the death of us all. Oh my God, they're going to be the death of us all. They're laying down like slugs. Less and less of them are, but they're going to be the death of us all. I just can't.
We must expose the virtue signaling nonsense that gives the liberal middle and upper classes their little circle jerk of moral high ground, often by dismissing others as uneducated or stupid rednecks.
Over 100 years ago, they called us rednecks
hello, P Sunshine.
because striking workers from all different races wore red bandanas around their necks as they fought and died for respect and a living wage.
The people have become disillusioned. That's not the world I was told to expect. So what is the answer? And where no alternative is
Oh gosh, of course they don't, Tiago. Of course they don't. You know, the Democrats are just another side of the corporate coin. 100%, Alan. This is why I keep saying, right? We need major changes in this country. So another boat was sunk off of Venezuela. Great, great. Love us plunging to war with a foreign country. Love that. Love that.
offered. The result is always the same. Racism, misogyny, fundamentalism, conspiracy theories, or other forms of radicalization. The genocide of Palestinians once again reveals the
Elliot, I got to tell you, I agree with you. I actually think that her flaws could have been overcome if she just advocated for progressive policies. Like, seriously. Meowsword, I completely agree with you. I think we do need to you remember, folks, I did that presentation on the Battle of Blair Mountain? I think we need to re-co-opt the term redneck. Okay, and I know I said I don't like doing well, yeah, I do think we should co-opt the word redneck, and that can be a multiracial thing because the original rednecks were multiracial. So to build solidarity, to overcome identity politics, let's co-opt redneck, which would be an excellent way of mobilizing people.
hypocrisy of the West and the shallow values it claims to stand for. All of this breeds skepticism, a sense of betrayal, distrust,
Right,
and the
JDH.
feeling of a world ruled by the strongest. No wonder people get radicalized. But
Yeah, no shit, right? No goddamn shit. Like every social scientist would tell you, like, duh, yeah, obviously, okay.
this crisis also gives us a
No offense to him, of course, but okay.
unique opportunity, not just to redefine and defend our values, but also to redefine our identity. What does it mean to be American, to be German, to be European, to be human? The mass of people who stand for humanity and anti-fascism is growing because our fucked up situation forces us to stand together. And this hardship brings an incredible chance we can't underestimate.
This genocide is being enabled and fueled by our governments, our institutions, our
Yeah, Alan.
companies, our elected officials who are supposed to represent us. End your complicity, everyone, end your complicity in this genocide. Be human. No one is free until Palestine is free.
Yeah, weird him as well.
Fascism is ironically the most counter-revolutionary movement in existence, a violent mass that fights to preserve the status quo of the nation. No change. By placing themselves in an imaginary hierarchy and deeming their group superior, fascists
I actually disagree with that a little bit. I get what he's saying here. The idea that fascism fights to not change a country. It is more of a reactionary movement, as in it tries to return the country to what it views as a mythical time and place, which does require changing it. What he's kind of referring to is hyper conservatism, not necessarily fascism, even though they're on the same end of the spectrum. I'm sorry, I'm quibbling.
Justify violence against others, which creates a sense of pseudo-power and pseudo-revolution, without changing the system at all. We're all frustrated with the system. We all know something is deeply.
And JDH, I will say, JDH is, I kind of blame the voters for blindly believing obvious lies. Well, JDH, yeah, um, I think both things are true, don't you? That the Democrats haven't offered much, and the voters have been believing lies. Um, oh, I totally agree in your groove. Yeah, we need to have those really high taxes on the ultra wealthy and stuff. By the way, they'll still be rich. They'll still be rich, but fairer taxes.
Wrong. But to embrace an ideology that maintains this very system, the endless concentration of wealth in the hands of a few, is not revolutionary. It's reactionary. It is not a culture war that threatens your way of life, your identity, your future. Which is true, by the way. But it's not trans people, not immigrants, not wokeness.
It's the fascists.
Not the poor, and no, not even the rich. The true threat is capital itself, or more precisely, how it's distributed. What would be truly revolutionary is recognizing the system of exploitation and committing to breaking it, joining organizations or parties that aim to dismantle it instead of getting lost in identity politics or feel-good wokeness.
Yes.
And call my beliefs whatever you want. The label doesn't matter. One thing is clear. The way things are going now is leading us into hell.
Yeah, he's very good videos, as in like how he structures them and stuff.
But that's not what actually matters, right? Everything I said is useless if you have no hope. Without a spark, there can't be a fire. You know, one of the main reasons this channel exists is to share my feelings of this, being overwhelmed. And I was never able to figure out why. And I was hoping that by creating these films, I'd be able to explore that funny feeling I have somehow. Call it cope, narcissism, or an outlet for my personal issues. My hope is that by sharing my feelings to the public, someone out there will know that you're not alone. If you knew me personally, you would know that I'm an incredibly stubborn, annoying, and quite pessimistic person. So I just can't think or believe that revolutionary optimism for now. And I don't know how, if so much of what I see is cruelty and suffering, especially now. There's one.
JDH, if I may make a comment here, JDH, I see what you're saying. I really do. And you're right. The right wing lies all the time. That being said, lies are immaterial. What I mean by that is that they are a superstructural element of society. They have to do with ideas and things like that. If the Democratic Party were serious about overcoming the lies, they would offer something material to the people who are being lied to, something that they can hold, something physical, something material. Like if you want to convince a bunch of people who are believing in lies that your policies are better than the liars, do something that actually improves their material conditions, that makes them able to feel the truth of what you are saying versus what the other side is saying. And you're right, though. There are lies all over the place on the right wing. Okay, how you overcome that, like I said, is changing material conditions. That's just my thought on it, JDH. And as you know, I am not saying the fascists aren't to blame for the situation we're in, but We need a material change to conditions. Um, okay, that could knock people. Um, uh, that could knock people out of their trance. Um, but of course they don't, Demosthenes, and that's the issue. The Democratic Party is corrupt, just like the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party is fascist, and the Democratic Party is, if you want to say, they're not fascist, I guess, but they're both corrupt. And that's why we need to, the Democratic Party better make some big goddamn changes, or even, there's other thing, we can get into it, but they need to offer something. Um, Yeah, you're right, Alan. You're right. You're right. She kind of gave in to that about the immigration.
Half that tries to hold on to that optimism. The other, way bigger half, is just sheer spite. I just don't want them to win. Fuck that. I simply refuse to accept to live in a world where the people I love have to be afraid to be themselves, or that others have to be afraid to not simply lose their existence. So if you have become nihilistic or feel like you're doomed, hear me out. I think there's an even more important form of resistance that we have to acknowledge. Quiet resistance.
Huh? So, okay, I guess real fast here. I know I keep pausing, but he said that, he's inspired to do something because he hates the other side. I get that. Okay. That being said, and I think I've said this before, folks, you need more than that to convince people to make change. You need a positive vision of the future. You need revolutionary optimism. Don't give people just something to fight against. That can be part of it, but give them something that they're fighting for and put it within reach. Okay. Make them feel it's in reach. We are fighting for a better society where children don't have to go hungry on the streets, where you don't have to worry about being given a $6,000 check after you've gone to the ER, where men and women who have had children will receive maternal and paternal leave, where you only have to work 3 to 4 days a week, where you have more control over your workplace, um, where the politicians are actually responsive to the population, where we have clean water, air, and an environment, where everyone is housed. You see what I'm saying here? Like, we need to create a positive vision of the future instead of just focusing on hating the other side. And it's very hard to do that in times where things are looking very, very dark, and it looks out of reach to achieve those things. But we need to make it seem like it's in reach. And by the way, by making it seem like it's in reach, it puts it in reach. So I'm just going to add to what he says there. I would avoid being just motivated by hatred. And if you are, at least publicly, also voice a revolutionary optimism about the future.
I'd be, of course, lying to you if I never thought about.
Yeah, no, you're right, Kimberly. And it's easy, right? It's easy to explain. Um, uh, it's easy to explain, right? Weird amorphous blob. I'm sorry, Kimberly. I think I've explained it on here before. You like to get universal health care, you wouldn't have any more money taken out of your paycheck. It would come out of your taxes and you'd be paying less than normal. And part of that revolutionary optimism could be explaining you're also going to have more money in your pockets. And you're right. They will always be like, well, how are you going to pay for that? How are you going to pay for that? But we know, and you know what my way of framing that is? We are, uh, yeah, you're right, Kimberly Jean. That's why we need to create that vision, right? And we need to remind everyone that we're one of the wealthiest countries in human history, literally. I found that using that phrase works. So why is it if we're one of the wealthiest countries in human history, you walk down the street and you see people barely surviving on the sidewalk who are homeless? Why is it that you're afraid to call an ambulance and you have to drive your son to the hospital after he breaks his arm because you're afraid of the cost of the ambulance? Why is it, like, you see what I mean? Um, Yeah, and that's Kimberly, you're right, and that's why we need to find a way to communicate this better future to them, because you're right, taxes will go up, but the amount taken out of people's paychecks will go down, so it's not like you'll be spending any more money. Yeah, it is much cheaper, Doug. Like, we need to anyway, revolutionary optimism, okay? We need to add that to our, anger.
You know, fuck all that. The people are either not worth saving or mostly rotten anyways. Trust me, I've been there. And I haven't fully overcome this mindset yet. Luckily for
You're
me,
right,
it's clear
Kimberly.
though that
And
the
Kimberly, you're 100% right. I'm all for dumbing it down, as you put it, Miss Kimberly. Like, it's okay to kind of use exaggerated language. I don't care. You need to fight the other side the way they're fighting. You can use emotional language, like draw pictures of a beautiful American future, that these things are had. Okay, and like, even if you're not fully explaining the particulars, uh, it's about building that vision.
more time I spend online, the more I feel this hatred and doomerism. And no, I'm not going to tell you to just touch grass. You obviously know that already. And you also know that Twitter or any social platforms don't represent the majority of the people. And yet,
100%.
still,
100%,
I
Elliot. You
see
will
the
pay less.
protests, I see the resistance, I see the public outrage, and yet nothing ever really changes. How do I escape this dread and this fear?
Because you need to develop a positive vision of something you're aiming for, okay? It's kind of like if you have a leaky faucet, right? If you have a leaky faucet and all you do is clean up the leak, like the water from the leaky faucet, without fixing the faucet, you're never going to solve the problem. We need to clean up the leak and we need to create a new faucet that won't leak as much. So it is kind of like a hamster in a wheel. If you're just trying to stop the other side and you're not actually looking to change what created the other side, right? I mean, there has to be a vision for a different way of doing things that comes along with it.
Feeling of guilt. If I don't stay informed, I'm part of the problem. If I don't take political action, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah,
If I
I
fall
see it
into
now. Thank you.
hopelessness, I'm giving up. I don't want to, but I simply can't do it anymore. I've lost
Yeah, we
hope.
watched that, Alan. It's great. Okay, what's his point with this? This is not helpful. I'm sorry. I
And
love his
yet,
videos.
even though I have no idea how to escape this feeling, I wake up every day. I go to work. I eat. I go outside. I go to the movies. I play video games. I meet my friends. I hug my girlfriend. I pet
Okay,
my
no offense,
dog.
but can we
I
get to the point? What's
annoy
the
my
point?
sister. I
Okay, I know I'm being cruel. I apologize, but
one day at a time. I'm coming closer to accept the fact that maybe I must endure that sorrow.
you're right, Tiago. I apologize.
I must
Might as well,
keep on
JH.
going because there's no other option. And no, there is no
Oh, how
other option.
motivating.
There simply is.
You gotta keep on going and suffer because there's no other option, you know? And Kimberly, I know that, right? And I'm not trying to downplay. I know a lot of people feel this way. But he is a content creator who has, in my opinion, a responsibility to try and convince people to take action. And wallowing in this stuff does not help people. And I know I'm being really hard on the guy. I totally get what he's saying, okay? Um, okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll continue.
So stupid. And deep down, I know that
Yeah, Meowzord.
it'll be okay.
So what is your vision?
I still have my
Hey,
case or
Kimberly, I
highlights
know.
of
Guys, I know I'm being hard on the guy. It's stressful for me to watch this because I know exactly how he feels. Um, I do hope it's building up to something, though. I do.
relations. And can you imagine that incredible feeling when you hear the news that or that got
I know,
or
Alan.
that Elon like, oh my god, can you imagine? You can't miss that. Like, come on. And if you look closely, you see the good in the world. In 2010, when the Gaza Freedom Flotilla tried to break Israel's blockade of Gaza, more than 600 courageous participants were arrested, and 9 were killed by the IDF. This marked the birth of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. In the years that followed, 2011, 15, 16, and 18, additional ships attempted
know,
to deliver
JDH.
humanitarian aid to Gaza. When in June and July 2025, members of another ship were again illegally detained, the global Summit Flotilla emerged. More than 450 ordinary citizens from across the world joined the mission in August to challenge the blockade. In October, another 100 followed. Their arrest sparked a wave of global protests.
And guys, I got to tell you, he is right. Okay, I know the world seems dark. Yeah, but we have seen people standing up everywhere. All of you are examples of this. All of you are. Okay, like there. We are not faced with a situation where there is no one anywhere trying to fight back. Okay. I mean, you are seeing humanity come forward in a million amazing ways to resist in the United States, in Europe, elsewhere in the world, everywhere. Okay, you are seeing that happen. Um, okay, it is a good thing to see, and it is something that should give people a degree of hope. Okay, all right.
We need you, not just the people around you, but your simple existence enriches the life of all of us without you realizing it. That pain, sorrow, and suffering you're experiencing. Don't kill it. Use it to defend the things you believe in, your people, your values. Hold on to it. Live accordingly as much as possible, just for yourself. And please don't be too harsh on yourself. Just your present alone will spark a lot of fires within the people around you. I can promise you that, without you realizing it. Because you'll never know what small gesture, touch, compliment, a word, or even a look can start a ripple effect.
Yeah.
My films are living proof that this is true. But they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the people around me who has led me to do this. And it could have been the smallest trivial thing that initiated all of it. My hope is that these films will eventually start more and more and more ripple effects. But the effect of her being on those around her was incalculably diffusive. For the growing good of the world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts, and that things are not so ill with you and me as they might have been, is half owing to the number who lived faithfully a hidden life and rest in unvisited tombs. You know what the most sickening part of fascism is? Fascist ideologies are based in nothing. Hierarchies, purity, mysticism, fake history. It's all lore.
That's true.
All fake. Based in nothing. Which is why once you go down that route, your soul will not only be
Remember, die Welt ist meine Vorstellung, right? The reality is what I make it to be. It doesn't matter what's true, according to the fascist.
Corrupted, but also just hollowed out, empty. Therefore, finding purpose, holding on to your humanity, empathy, hope, and life is the most anti-fascist thing you can do.
Right, Meowzord, Call to the Green. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, okay. I see what he's doing with this. Yeah, okay, so this is cute. I will say, Malzord, I would like your opinion on this too, Malzord, because you're the one that, suggested this. I get it. Okay, I get the end there and stuff. But folks, like if you don't if first let me say this. On Saturday is the No Kings protest. I'm going to be going. I'm going to try and live stream from the No Kings protest. I'll probably be in Indianapolis doing it. So I can have my partner come with me so he can help me with the video and stuff while we're there. Okay. And so I will be doing that. All right. And yeah, no, and Alyssa, so let me point out something. So, okay, I'm trying to think of my words here while I am telling you that I'm going to be going to the uh, um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Malzord. See, that's what I felt too. So, I'm going to be going to that just to let you know. I will try to live stream from it. We'll see if the setup works. I got some equipment so that I could actually do it. If you want to watch, you can. We'll see. Um, uh, uh, yes, you guys might meet my partner if you do watch. But okay. Second of all here, I totally get what he's saying there, right? I get it. I understand how he feels. Trust me, I understand how he feels. But having hope without action is useless, right? And not only that, you need to have hope for a clear vision of what you want, right? Um, like, and for people who are not able, yeah, you're right, Meowzord. I'm not trying to be. I feel like a bad guy here. You're all making me feel like a bad guy. I blame all you. Okay. Um, I love this guy's content. I've seen all of his stuff. I just haven't seen this one. I just wish maybe it's because I'm my propaganda brain. I'm trying to think of a way he could have done this better for the sake of propaganda. Okay. But like, or the sake of being more convincing. Thank you, Matt Saigai. Thank you. And Tiago. Okay, fine. I am a bad guy. Okay. I get what he's saying here, but like, it's not, you need to have a positive vision of the future. You need to have something you are fighting for, versus just going along because that's what you want to, because, and by the way, that ending part there, that was like showing visions from his past. He makes it seem like it's already been a funeral for him, right? Like those memories of the past, and it's like the whole life is flashing before his eyes. He's not gone, right? He's still here. Um, okay. Uh, yeah, that's fair. Okay, maybe I'm being too harsh on him. All right. Um, and again, I will say, like, he's a younger guy. I might be being too harsh on him. I just wish it didn't seem so much like a funeral, and that like, well, I know everything is done, but you just need to have hope for the sake of hope, without actually doing anything to make that thing you hope for a reality. Anyway, and by the way, folks, you have to do more than just smile at people or touch people. Okay, I mean, you should do more than just that. That can be very useful, but yeah. Anyway, okay, I'll shut up. Thank you very much, Malzord. That was very good though, and he did make a lot of really good points, especially about like the identity stuff. Um, that's fair. There you go, Weird Amorphous Blob. That's fair. Okay. And he does very great videos. Um, okay. So okay. All right, you guys. I have a couple other things here to react to. Wait. Oh my God, Meowzord, genius. So Meowzord says, my wife was saying to not get burnt out. I've been saying the opposite. Clear focus, galvanization, action. Yes. Folks, this is like this is like the Luke, thank you. Pessimism of the intellect, but optimism of the will. For revolutions to okay, I'm not saying we're going to have a revolution. I'm just saying, in order to make change, you need a clear focus on your goal. You need to be galvanized. You need to find a motivation for galvanization into action. Okay. And you can be pessimistic intellectually, but you need your will to be optimistic. And you need people to see that. Okay. Because, if people, folks, I can tell you when I was a teacher, if I were to come into that classroom before a lesson and be like, "Oh, I don't think any of you are gonna do well in this lesson. It's gonna be really hard for you to learn. We'll see what happens, but, I don't think this is gonna go well for anyone." You know what always happened? It wouldn't go well for anyone. There'd be no motivation. They would assume before it even started that there was no hope for them to learn anything. Now, if I came in that classroom and I said, "You know what, folks? This is gonna be a struggle, but it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna get through it, and at the end, you're gonna learn so much more than you did before, and we're gonna push through it together." And, like, have like a you have to give a positive vision of the future that acknowledges the struggles that will come, but give people, galvanize them into action, okay? Ritualize it. Yes, Meowzord, ritualize it, okay? Like, all right. Yeah, Viva Revolution, right? Think about all the revolutions in history that have been successful. They were not down in their dumps depressing, okay? Not a single one. The American Revolution was not like, "Oh, there's no hope. The British taxes are just overwhelming and the elites control everything. Oh, well, at least there's people out there fighting." Okay, no, no. All right. I'm sorry. I'm being a bit mean when I do that, but you know what I mean. Okay. I'm not trying to go after him. I mean, I am kind of. What office am I going to run for? In your groove, I have not even considered that. Okay. Uh, uh, yeah, right. Mazard, at least I have my tea, right? Okay. No, and Alyssa, you're right, okay? Admittedly, folks, I am oversimplifying because, like, who is going to be starting all this, okay? It's a good question. I don't know. Um, but there are more and more people coming out to do that. It does need to be a leader or some kind of leadership structure. Remember how I've said before, yes, thank you, Weird Amorphous Blob. Remember, and Weird Amorphous Blob, you probably remember this. I said before that for revolution, for example, like revolutionary actions, peaceful, of course, peaceful revolutionary actions. I'm not talking about violence here. You need a parallel government structure. All right. So you need pre-existing political bodies that exist to make decisions about what the revolutionary does. You need cleared and coordinated demands. Okay. Um, like you need so there are things you need, but there are people out there working on this, folks, okay? And we need a leader. We need, like, someone to come up who is, like, a charismatic type leader figure, probably charismatic, maybe not necessarily, but, not like that sounds fascisty, okay? But we need some leadership structure, okay? Um, all right. Yeah, 100% Joshua, right? 100%. It was a democratic form of resistance. The civil rights, no, Alyssa, we do, but in the meantime, Alyssa, we have to make those changes, right? Yeah, Luke, you're right. Okay. All right. So, when folks, like I said, this Saturday, massive protests are going to be happening all across the country for the No Kings protests. Who knows? One of the things that there is something to strive for, folks. There absolutely is. Yeah, we can begin it. Yeah, no, Alyssa, you're right. You're right. Okay, I know I'm being a bit harsh. Yeah. Okay. I will say this. Okay. Um. Yeah. In your groove, you're after my heart. Okay. Yes. The civil rights protesters knew that there'd be violence done against them too. Nonviolent resistance is not nonviolent. It's just that the violence is done to some of you. Okay. Discipline and things like that are necessary. We can talk more about this at some point. Um, and I will say that, like, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I'm not saying that how people are feeling is not absolutely valid. I totally get that. Okay, my main complaint here is with this, how he presented it, because he has the opportunity to send a message out to his audience, and I don't think he went for the right message there at the end. Does that mean that you can't have hope and that you shouldn't have hope and try to push through in order to survive? Absolutely, you should. Okay, but just know. All right, you see what I'm saying. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have here to react to. Uh, um, mm, okay. And as one other thing here, okay, forgive me. Tiago, where is your video? Yeah, I agree, Alan. Yeah, man, Psy guy. Oh yeah. Where is it? Where is it, Tiago? Would you tell me? Is it in the Discord? Okay, I find it, Tiago, real fast. I actually think this was sent to me by someone who is in here, so I will do yours, Tiago. I do kind of want a palate cleanser. So and folks, I'll tell you what though, like I really do have hope. I'm saying that because I know all of you, like literally. Like clearly the fact that we have a community here that feels this way about things and is genuinely trying to figure out what to do. You think there aren't hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, million more people like this in the world who just haven't found a community or found a way to channel what they're feeling? I mean, you see what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. So thank you for this.
More grotesque than competitive eating. The concept of a bunch of guys pushing their anatomy.
All right. So this will just be a little bit of a palate cleanser before I get off here. Let me oh, Laws, you're here. I didn't know you were here, Louise. Okay, how about we watch that right after this, okay? And oh, I'm feeling better, Matt Saigai, mainly because I have drugs in my system. But admittedly, I'm gonna get off here in a second because I'm gonna need to sleep. But you know what? Let's do it this way. I'm gonna watch this first, and then I'll watch Tiago's as the palate cleanser before I get off. Okay, let's watch this.
Boys, I still remember.
Let's watch this real fast. This is I can never how to I don't know how to pronounce his name. Okay, yay, drugs, right? Or is it because of me? Matt Saigai, you know it's because of you. Matt Saigai, it's always because of you, Matt Saigai. It was always you, Matt Saigai. And then I turn into a musical number. Okay, um, oh, I got you, Law. Okay, no, that's no problem, Louise, okay? I am always gaying it up, right? True, Alan. Okay. Giannis Varfakis. Thank you, Weirdamorph. Guys, you are so helpful with my pronunciations today. Thank you, Weirdamorphous Blob. Okay, so let's watch this. I'm not sure what it's about. He says misogyny is getting worse. So let's listen.
I owe it to these 5 women. They have liberated me from the male chauvinist within me.
I don't believe that, Yanis. I think you were born enlightened, highly intelligent man.
No, I was socialized through misogyny, like most boys. I still remember, as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, that our socialization process as boys revolved around hating girls and treating them like shit.
for anyone who has had a male child or been a male child, and heck, I don't know why I'm being exclusionary here. For anyone in chat who's experienced this, is it not true in the United States too, to some extent? Like when you're a little boy, the words that are used are like, "Oh, what are you, a girl?" Like there's all these words kind of built into the language that denigrate women. And obviously, you're a child. It's not like you know any better, but it is interesting that like people get automatically socialized. Yeah, cooties. Ew, girls have cooties. Now, girls will say that too about boys, right? They'll be like, boys have cooties. There's all these kind of weird things that occur, these separation. One of the reasons I think boys and girls should be more, one of the reasons I think boys and girls should be more integrated in classrooms and stuff, separated less, is because it builds more camaraderie. Um, yeah, they totally do, meows. Or women have disproportionate standards to live up to. 100%. I can get out of bed and like kind of brush my hair briefly and then sit down and start live streaming without having to worry that someone's going to um, you know, judge me harshly. Uh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, right. Right, totally, Tiago. Yeah, there you go, weird amorphous blob. I got bullied for liking Barbie and My Little Pony and had few friends, but definitely observed that from the outside. Right. Uh, yeah, and hey, I think co-ed is very good. I think boys and girls should be less segregated when they're growing up. Um, okay. My thought. Um, Tiago, how dare you? Okay. Thank you for the compliment, though, Tiago. I feel like, I take that as a compliment. All right. Okay. We'll continue.
Do you think that's got better?
No, I don't. I think it's getting worse.
Did it get better?
It did get better, and now it's getting worse. Look at the adolescence, right? I know
That's
that
for
this
sure.
has become a kind of stereotype, but I think it's quite telling. I see this from our kids. It is definitely getting worse.
Why?
Guys, I saw it as a teacher. Like, I think I've told you this. My young male students, my teenage male students, and then even grade school level male students, the misogyny has gotten worse. It's really bad. Um, it's really bad. As a matter of fact, in some schools, it's gotten so bad that not much is done about it. Because if stuff was done about it, there'd be very few male boys in the classroom at any given time because they would all be in the dean's office. Now that never happened in any school I was in because I was authoritarian when it came to that in the classroom. But my point is, I'm very concerned for the future of our young men. Okay. Okay.
Well, because we have the drift to the ultra right. Allow me a bit of economic determinism and a bit,
Please.
Revealing my Marxism, my
Absolutely,
unreconstructed
weird
Marxism.
Absolutely, Luke.
I think that 2008 was our generation's 1929. And ever since we had our generation in 1929, the left failed to put forward
They totally did, Luke. And I think, Luke, you're right. I think because so many people, young men, were online going into red pill communities, it kind of really sped that up. And I'm also very deeply concerned about obviously our transgender brothers and sisters out there who have to grow up in these environments. I suspect the mental health is not great. Okay, obviously, for our transgender brothers sisters, and they thems out there. It's just anyway. I'm very worried.
Emancipatory narrative. Even when we did get into government, like I did, we failed. It doesn't matter why. We fought with one another. There was betrayal. There was treachery. There was stupidity and mistakes and so on. And just like in the Middle War period in the 1920s and 1930s, after the left fails, discontent grows. And then the idea of the masculine, patriarchal rebirth of the nation, which goes hand in hand with the patriarchal family.
Yes.
Around
remember, folks, remember when we read Umberto Eco in his discussion of like patriarchy under fascism and things like that, and the return of patriarchal values and the subjugation of women and sort of the natural misogyny. If you guys look up the history of Mussolini, my God, that man was horrific towards women. Same thing with Hitler. Like my point is that it's all baked into fascism.
The paterfamilias. This whole thing becomes a political agenda that is functional to the interests of the cartel running big business. Don't forget that big capital always in the end gets into bed with the fascists.
Yep. Oh, I love
and
him.
this patriarchal narrative becomes even more reinforced. So, if you're looking at it from this macroscopic and macro sociological point of view, then you realize why it all clicks. I owe it to these 5 women. They have liberated me from the male chauvinist pig within me.
I don't believe that, Yanis.
Okay, I love that. That was great. That's not all you were reading, the Weird Amorphous Blob. I've seen your bookcase. I saw that picture, Weird Amorphous Blob. Well, Weird Amorphous Blob here was reading. That's it. Thank you, Louise. I love that. Whenever I hear him talk, he's brilliant. Weird Amorphous Blob here has like a bookcase full of like Hegel and Gramsci and Goldman and Marx and all these very difficult to read high level thinkers. Anyway, I'm very impressive. Yeah, that's not all that's lovely there, Louise. Anyway, but yes, I've promised myself I would stop making comments about men on the videos. So anyway, okay. No, okay, that's it done. Let's watch now. Let me do this last thing. Let's do the last thing. Okay. We will watch. So let's watch this thing. This will be the last thing we watch here. A sort of a palate cleanser. Thank you for this, Tiago. Let's take a look here. Terrare, the hungriest man in history. This will be fun. I'm sure Meow's word, right? No, I'm not. Yeah, Tiago, this is it. I told you this is what we do. All right.
Hey kids, I think we can all agree that there are few pastimes more grotesque than competitive eating. The concept of a bunch of guys pushing their anatomy to its limits just for sport leaves a bad taste in my mouth in more ways than one. But imagine if these men didn't adopt this habit just for fun. Imagine if some gross biological error
It is a flaw of mine, Tiago. I am working on it.
forced them to eat like this for their entire life. Introducing Terrare. Terrare was born in France around 1772 to a poor farming family. It's said that his appetite was so voracious that, by his teens, Terrare could eat an entire quarter of a cow carcass in a single day.
Christ.
You'd think he'd be like mega
Right,
obese, but no, he only weighed 100 pounds by age
Welcome,
17.
Moxie.
However, there were still a few things that stood out about Terrare appearance-wise. For
That's
one,
true,
he had
Doug.
a huge, stretched-out mouth with horribly stained teeth. He could reportedly fit 12 eggs in his cheeks at once, much like a chipmunk keeping its chipmunk eggs warm. Additionally, when Terrare was full, he'd get a crazy octomom gut going, and any other time, he'd have a huge flap of stretched out skin hanging around his waist. He also stank to high hell, even by 18th century French peasant standards. He was described as reeking, quote, to such a degree that he could not be endured within the distance of 20 paces. So between all this and his horrendous outhouse flooding dumps, his family had had enough. Alright, you're eating us out of house and home here. You gotta go, man. You heard me. Kick bricks, Froggy. Wow, he just called a French person a frog. That's so racist. No, it's not. They're all French. The guy just looks like a frog is all. Oh, well, too late. I'm already offended. That's fair. Dislike. After leaving home, Terrare was forced to beg and steal just to satisfy his gargantuan appetite. Inevitably, people began to take notice of him, and eventually he landed a job as a street performer in Paris. People would hand Terrare entire baskets of apples, eggs, and even wine corks, and watch in delight as he horked them down without the slightest hesitation. Normally, this went off without a hitch, except for one time when he suffered a severe intestinal blockage. Fortunately, the crowd was kind enough to carry him to the hospital, where he was treated with the strongest laxatives the 18th century had to offer.
God.
I would draw what happened next, but it would probably get my channel deleted. So let's just
Jesus.
picture it for a few moments. Moving on. Cut to the year 1792. This marks the beginning of the War of the First Coalition. Ever heard of it? Me neither. Who was in it? Fucking everyone. Anyway, Terrare decided to enlist in the war. After all, maybe that profound emptiness he was feeling was just a lack.
Oh my God, I've never heard of that, Meowsword. Prader-Willi syndrome is a genetic condition where you never feel full and always feel hungry. People with kids who have it have to lock their cabinets and even their garbage bins. I have never heard of that, Meowsword. That's fascinating.
Of purpose in life. Turns out, no, he really was just psychotically hungry. Even after being granted quadruple rations, Terrari would still be digging through the trash pile whenever he got the chance. After suffering extreme exhaustion, he was sent off to the military hospital in Suzerain. The staff there was so dumbfounded by the man's abilities that they decided to keep him there to run a few experiments. The first of which involved putting Terrari in a room with a meal prepared for 15 people. Naturally, he ate the entire thing and immediately fell asleep. Next, they presented him with a raw eel. In response, Terrari crushed the eel's skull between his teeth before slurping down the entire creature in one go. Now, this is hair-clenchingly horrifying for a couple of reasons. Firstly, he put a whole frickin' eel in his stomach, but secondly, there had to be some point during digestion where the meat was gone but the bones still remained. Now, for those of you who don't know, an eel skeleton looks like this. That means Terrari had all of those needle-sized ribs stabbing into the walls of his stomach at once, and he was fine. He also ripped a live cat apart with his bare hands, drank its blood, and ate everything but its bones, and then
why hasn't this guy been like burned alive at the stake or something already? Wasn't there at least one person in Europe at the time that's like witch or like, I'm just saying, it seems awfully woke of them to not burn him at the stake at this point, right?
later gagged up the fur and skin like an owl, but, that's neither here nor there. After reviewing our data, I've come to the scientific conclusion that, yeah, we got a goddamn demon on our hands. But as we all know, with great devour comes great responsibility. Since
this is why wokeness is bad. This is why wokeness is bad. Clearly, he was a witch, right? He was a witch. Yeah, let's not quibble, Doug. I mean, yeah, he was male, but, whatever. At that point, I'm sure they would make an exception to the normal independent woman that they would call a witch, okay? But at this point though, I think he's a witch. I think that this is why being woke is bad. They could have fixed this problem real quick.
Terrari was still technically enlisted, the military decided to utilize his abilities for the greater good. Hey Terrari, it's me, the General. Listen, could you eat this box with a note in it for me? If you do it, we'll give you a wheelbarrow full of bull organs. Lo and behold, 2 days later, he passed the container in mint condition and was given his reward as promised. With this proof of concept, they made him an official spy and sent him into Prussia with a document in his belly, to be delivered to an imprisoned French colonel. Unfortunately, there are a couple things Terrari couldn't do that are generally important when sneaking into another country. A, he couldn't speak German, and B, it's pretty hard to maintain a low profile when you're running around like a madman, wolfing down garbage and mutilating small animals. So he ended up being captured by the enemy. Initially, he kept his mouth shut, for once, but after a whipping and a day in jail, Terrari gave in. After confessing that he did, in fact, have vital intelligence snaking its way through his GI tract, the Prussians chained him to a latrine until the box emerged 30 hours later. The note wasn't actually anything important, so they just mock executed him, gave him a severe beating, and sent him on his way. After all that, Terrari returned to life at the hospital, desperate for a cure for his condition, but nothing they ever tried worked. Meanwhile, the man's endless hunger continued to get him into all sorts of trouble. He'd often sneak out of the hospital to eat the scraps behind the local butcher and fight stray dogs in the alley for their precious garbage. He'd also seek out patients undergoing bloodletting in order to take all their life juice for himself. On several occasions, he was even caught attempting to eat.
I mean, come on, where is classic European superstition? Isn't anyone being like he's a vampire? I mean, that's obvious. God, these people were so woke at this time. They need to be less. Obviously, the guy's a vampire. I mean, he's drinking blood.
Bodies in the mortuary. By this point in my research, I was so desensitized to this guy that I didn't even bat an eye when I first read that. I was just like, alright, guess he must have been hungry. Anyway, the hospital staff begrudgingly tolerated Terrari's buffoonery, until one day when he went too far. Well, Terrari, you've only had 3 mess hall raids, 4 miscellaneous trash-related mishaps, and 1 cadaver defiling, so I'd say, so far, this week's been pretty good. Doctor, we should probably inform you that a 14-month-old child has gone missing from their room.
Oh my god. Blood
Terrari?
sausage. You're a vampire, Doug. That's it. Doug is a witch. Doug is a witch / vampire.
Did you eat a fucking baby? Terrari was promptly kicked out of the hospital and spent 4 years out and about doing, whatever horrific shit you can imagine. When he came back, he was suffering from advanced tuberculosis and died shortly after arrival. During his autopsy, the surgeons found that, when they looked into his mouth, they could see all the way down his throat and into his stomach cavity. As you can imagine, his whole abdominal region was profoundly deformed. Basically, if this is a normal human, this is what they found inside Terrari. Just like the man's mind, we can see that around 90% is devoted towards food and 10% towards everything else. So, moral of the story here is that No, you know what? Not even I can find anything resembling a moral here. Not all stories have a point to them. Sometimes they're just sad and disgusting from beginning to end.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Like the
As you
life
can
story
probably
of
tell,
Donald
I'm a
Trump.
very visual person when it comes to learning. I firmly believe that engaging visual...
Oh, okay, that's the end of it. Thank you for that. That was kind of bizarre, and like in a good way. That's funny. For those of you doing historical revisionism on my very obvious statements of fact during this video, shame on you. Shame on you. Doug is a witch. Okay. Weird amorphous blob is now a witch. Tiago is a witch. Who else is a witch? Meowser is borderline witch. I feel like no, not Meowser. I don't think Meowser said anything that threatened my authority, so I won't call Meowser a witch. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. So, okay, yeah, no. By the way, I've had blood sausage before. Not a fan. Not a fan. Uh, I don't know. I don't know weird amorphous blob. I'm paranoid now. I'm having a stalling level of paranoia. So I'm thinking I'm paranoid of everyone now. I think you are a witch. Okay, help me, help me! I'm being repressed, bloody peasant. Um, won't you invite me in to talk further? Thanks, Sam. Won't you invite me in to talk further? Okay. Uh, all right. Help. Yeah. No vampires would rise from the dead, so can't be him. LOL. According to old lore. You know what? All of you. Okay. I don't need this. I don't need this from you. Okay. Uh. Um. Wait, Meowzord, and why won't I invite you? Oh, I got you, Meowzord. Okay. Oh my God, Meowzord. See, I'm slow. Okay. Yeah, you're making a vampire joke. Okay. Yes, I got it now. Okay. Um. I know, right? We need a purge here. This is getting out of hand. You're right, Meowzord. I got it. Forgive me. It just took me a moment. You know, I'm a bit slow, so I got it. Okay. All right. Okay, folks. I need to sleep. Like, I am drugged up and I'm feeling a bit better, but I'm also tired. So I'm going to put my face back up here. Oh, great, Alyssa. What a great thing to hear at the end of this. That Kirk is getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom as we speak. Um, God love this country. Uh, yeah. It took me a moment. Okay. Um, okay. Why is there blue on my head? Why? Oh, it's from my hat. Anyway, what a load of warlocks, right, Laws? Okay. All right. So, hey guys, I'm gonna go now. I will come back on tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll feel better. Remember that today we talked about. I was doing my little thing here. We talked about the boomerang theory. Okay. Um. Uh. All right. So let's I'm gonna go now, folks. Thank you all. And by the way, don't remember this artifact that human beings have been on this planet for thousands of years. They have been through some pretty rough stuff. We're still here. Okay, so we are still here. Okay. The bastards haven't gotten rid of all of us yet. Okay. All right. Okay, folks, let's end this now. All right. First of all, first and foremost, free Palestine. Free Palestine. I don't even have my there it is. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Second of all, never stop resisting. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. That includes when you watch me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Don't get caught in an information silo. I am not some immortal. I am just a regular guy, human being. Okay. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. Thirdly, here we are living in a fascist moment in this country. Not only this country, but in other countries around the world. Fascism thrives in an environment where people have lost faith in their democratic institutions. We need major reforms in this country. Major reforms. Okay. You cannot stand in the center. If you stand in the center, the fascists will walk all over you. Okay. We need to offer people something material to change their minds. Okay. On the wall behind me is a sword. The name of that sword is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker has been passed down through generations in my family. It is thought to have been responsible for the death of at least 7 slave owners. Why do I have it back there? I have it back there to remind everyone that our ancestors have made some major sacrifices for some of the things today, including sometimes putting their lives on the line. We cannot let their sacrifice go to waste, folks. Please, please, please do not let their sacrifice go to waste, and always, always, always fight for a better future. And on that note, folks, you all have a good rest of your day, morning, evening, noon, night, day, wherever you may be in the world. I will see you all later. Head over to our Discord if you haven't been there already. You can. I don't think I pinned it in chat. Whatever. You can find it in the description beneath the video. All right. Bye-bye, folks. Matt Saigai, don't worry. You're still my favorite. Okay. Okay. Bye.